glad to see you again. I'm Jerrel. This is Mountain Home. Today I wanted to discuss a little topic that it's been on my mind a bit, and people have started asking me about that. And what that topic is, what does it take to start just playing music and jamming with other musicians? So when I say jamming with other musicians and playing music, it means you're in a situation where you necessarily have not planned any particular piece of music, and that you are really just shooting from the hip and you are playing along with other musicians. One person will lead the song, whether this is in a group of a number of people or whether it's just a couple of you. The reason why I've got these instruments here with me today, I have my cello banjo, my mandocello, and my 21 chord auto harp. I spent 2 months of last year, 2023, adventuring around the States, mostly in California, and I had these instruments with me. I would travel from small gold mining towns, little mountain towns, and I would have my instruments with me. I'd go wander between different campsites in these Sierra Nevadas, and I'll just meet and hang out with people. I would give them advice as an adventurer, as when you are traveling around up in the mountains, it's very important to have information about your surroundings. So I consider it my job as an adventurer to collect as much data as I can, any information I can find about weather, passes, what's open, the safety conditions of different routes and different locations, and share that information with people. And when I'm sitting around those saloons in those old, dusty old gold mining towns that look like they came out of the Wild West, or campsites way up in the mountains with people that I've never met before, something that really helps you connect with other people is just playing music. So people have asked me, well, what does it take to be able to do that, to be able to jam with other people and play music? What's most important is that you are comfortable enough with your instrument to where you don't have to look at your instrument. You have to be able to play your instrument while watching and listening to another musician. So there's going to be different levels of musicianship all around the world and different kinds of expertise. Some people are trained musicians who play in orchestras. So they play in very organized settings. That isn't the same kind of environment that I'm discussing here. This is talking about a casual jam environment. And when you are in an environment like that, you don't have anything rehearsed, you don't have anything practiced. You have to be able to watch the other musician, you have to be able to listen and see what they are doing. Every musician has their own quirks, especially these homegrown living room musicians and people that are sitting around in saloons and strumming on a guitar or sitting around campsites. So these sort of living room musicians don't necessarily have perfect time, perfect rhythm. You'll find that musicians like that are just casually hanging out, relaxing, will often either skip a rest in a song. They might accidentally add too much rest in a phrase. And what I mean by that is they will be lengthening or shortening certain parts of a song because they've made a mistake, and they just keep playing that. And so it may be a song that you are very familiar with, that you know very well, and you know exactly how the official version is played. You've played it heaps of times. Someone starts playing something like Hotel California or Take Me Home Country Roads. Someone else starts playing it, you start playing along, and then all of a sudden you two are totally out of time with each other. And that can occur when the person who's leading the song ends up adding or subtracting portions of a phrase. So what is most important when you are in a jam environment is just watch the musician and listen. Listen to what they are playing, and if you can figure out what their quirks are when playing certain songs, then that will help. You want to be able to just synchronize and do what the other person's doing. When you are in casual music environments and jam environments, it's not necessarily the most important thing to play the song correctly. What's important is that you play the song the same way that everyone else is playing it, so you can all make a coherent sound and it doesn't become a mess. So, listen to what the other person is doing, but in order to do that, you have to be comfortable enough with your instrument that you are not just looking down at your fretboard. I know it can often become a habit if you mostly just play an instrument at home and you're just relaxing and you play at your own pace, you don't necessarily play with other musicians. It becomes a habit to where you sort of just stay locked on to your fretboard and that's all you look at. So I would recommend getting out of the habit of just staring down at your fretboard. If you have a friend that you can jam with and practice and play music with, try not looking at your instrument at all, not looking at the fretboard, and just watching the other musician. The second most important skill is learn how to read someone else's guitar chord shapes so that you can play along. The guitar will be the most popular and the most common acoustic instrument that you will find in jam environments, and so it's important that you are able to look at the chords that someone else is playing and understand, okay, they're playing a G chord, they're playing a C chord, that's an F, that's an A, and that's a D chord. So that's an extremely important skill because that allows you to play your instrument, whatever you're playing. If you can see what someone else's chords are, then you can support them on rhythms on, you don't necessarily have to play on the 1 beat, but you can play on 2 and 4, or 2 and 3, to give you time to watch their chord progression. You'll find that some musicians transition to their chord shapes a little bit early, and that is very useful if you are watching them because it gives you time to catch up to them. And some musicians will transition to their chord shapes the very last moment, and with those it can be more difficult to keep up, which is when you can play on, say, 2 and 4 on the phrase. So when I was traveling around the States last year, I primarily had my cello banjo, my auto harp, and my mando cello, and I met people in saloons that would say, hey, I've got a guitar in the car, I'll bring it out. I'd say, bring your guitar out, we'll have a jam, we'll play auto harp, and instantly, we didn't need any practice, we didn't need any discussion, we didn't need any rehearsal. If one person were to start playing a song, the other musician would be able to just jam and play along. And even people that are just hanging out that aren't necessarily musicians, they will sing along and they will enjoy it. It becomes this really magical environment where you've got a connection to everyone around you. It's just really fantastic. So when I see someone playing guitar, I can pretty much just see what chords they are playing, and I can play along on my auto harp here. I don't have my finger picks, maybe I'll just use this thing, but it'll be a little bit scratchy. So I watch someone else's, and I can see if they've got their guitar going, and if they are a little bit of a late transitioner when it comes to their chord shapes, then I'll just play. So if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I would play like that. Some guitarists transition to their next chord pretty early, and it gives me time. I can play in 1-on-3s if I want. But I would play different rhythms, of course, with finger picks. I don't have my finger picks with me at the moment. Next is have a repertoire of songs. So, unfortunately, I have to spend the vast majority of my day with work. So I don't necessarily have a lot of time to learn songs. I have to do a significant amount of composing, and so I don't necessarily have space in my brain box to remember a bunch of songs. So I have a songbook that I've compiled. I've got about 80 songs in here, and they are all songs that I'm quite comfortable with, that I know what they sound like, I know how they should sound, and I just say, for example, if you have a look at here, you'll see the words and the chords. And this is good so that when you're in any other environment, you're going to find that when you're in social environments, you may be in a situation, or maybe there's distractions, there's noises, maybe you've had a few drinks, and it's going to be tough to remember some of your songs. It's good to have a song book so that you can play your songs even if you're not in 100% performing shape. You can see the chords, you can see the words. What's great about these is that you can invite other people who are hanging out with you to look at your songbook, and they can say, "Oh wow, yeah, okay. Oh, I love Catch the Rainbow. I love Crazy from Willie Nelson. Play that song for me." And you build a rapport with people. Other musicians that are sitting around with you can see which songs are in your songbook, and they may make a request to play a song together. This is a great way to keep a jam flowing and moving, and it prevents there from being any dead time, but it also reminds you of the songs that you know. For me, I often can't remember the songs that I know. I don't know what songs I know. The book will remind me, oh yeah, I know this song, I'm quite good at this song, I'm comfortable with that song, and I'll play that. So that's why I strongly recommend get yourself a chord book, print out your songs, your chords. I format these. I get all of my chords from Ultimate Guitar on the computer, and then I format them so they can fit comfortably on a page, and that takes a couple minutes to just put it all in a Word document, print it out, slap them in there. So that's basically all the advice, the real practical advice that I've got for you. But on top of that, don't wait. Just go. Just get out there. I know that we all these days can spend so much time on the internet, and it can make you feel very lonely because it gives you a false sense of connection, a false sense of social capital, a false sense of friendship. But you have to keep in mind that the internet is not real. We are not friends here. We're just seeing each other on a superficial level. This isn't friendship. This isn't real connection. And we can get stuck on the internet, believing that maybe if we just keep using the internet, it'll feel right. But the real world is out there. The real connections are out there. The real friendship is out there. So my advice is just get out there. Find somewhere to go. Find somewhere social. Find somewhere to be around other people. And bring an instrument with you and just see what happens. Alright, I hope this video was interesting for you. Please take care of yourselves. Come home again soon. I'll keep the porch light on.